Welcome to another inspiring episode of Trust the Process with your host, Martin Bugai. Today, we're diving into the remarkable journey of Arthur, a finance professional from New York who faced a turning point that many can relate to. At 40, Arthur found himself grappling with being diagnosed as obese and a growing list of health concerns, including new prescriptions and medication from his doctor. With a 6-year-old and a newborn on the way, the stakes were higher than ever. Driven by a desire to be present for his family and reclaim his health, Arthur reached out to me after witnessing the transformation of his friend who had worked with me previously. Through our online coaching program, he not only shed 40 pounds of body fat, but also sculpted an incredible physique and changed his entire outlook on life. Join us as we explore Arthur's story of determination, the challenges he overcame, and the life-changing lessons he learned along the way. Welcome to the show. Welcome to London. Welcome to the show.
Oh, love your town.
Great to meet you in person, man.
Right back at you.
All the way from New York. So, been a journey.
It has.
Crazy 6 months. Good, great 6 months. We're just talking, looking back at our first call.
Yeah.
And seeing you right now in person. I actually rewatched that very first call, briefly.
Sure.
To kind of, remind myself about certain things, which we're no doubt going to cover in this. But your face, man, I mean, you got to admit you've changed.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I have.
So you've lost 40 pounds altogether, right?
All in, yep.
Amazing. So about 160 when you started?
I was about 160, 161. It was probably like a week or two before the program started. But that's kind of where my weight was.
Yes.
161, 165. Yeah, around there.
Yeah. Man, take me all the way back, all those 6 months back. Why did you sign? What were the goals? How did you hear about me? All of that.
Sure. Fitness was a big part of my life. Kind of growing up, I played sports, right? I love the gym. I think I started the gym quite young, which I attribute to maybe stunting my growth too early, but that's a whole other thing. But I really enjoyed being in the gym, and fitness was great. But I felt that over time, your body gets old, metabolism's not there, family, kids, and I'm starting to get a little bit more plump, shirt's starting to get a little bit tighter. And what really dawned on me, when I hit 40 and I did kind of my annual checkup with the doctor, he's like, your cholesterol's off the charts. And he reminded me it was around 300 plus cholesterol. My LDLs were 245. And he's like, I'm in my head, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to work out, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to do this. And this was for, many years, trying to do this on my own. Didn't really happen. And so I realized, okay, I got to change something about what I do and how I approach things. And, it could be genetics too. My father, long list of heart issues, cholesterol. I put a lot of medicine together for him and sent it out to him. And I'm just I look at my 2 young kids and I'm like, I need to be there long term. And what I'm doing currently is just not working. And so it just so happened, I was at a work event, traveling with another colleague of mine, and he looked amazing.
Shout out to Jonathan.
John, man. Love you, bro. And I'm like,
spreading love.
John, what did you do? And he's like, hey, man, just got a virtual trainer. I check boxes. I eat right. I work out. Easy peasy. I'm like,
hook me up.
Whatever you're doing, I need some of that. And kind of, it's kind of here we are.
Nice. Love it.
Yeah.
So many interesting things already you mentioned. So the big sort of catalyst you signing obviously was Jonathan, because he kind of hooked you up with us.
Yep.
But you knew that you needed to do something.
Yeah.
The doctor, the health check.
Yep.
All of that stuff.
Yep.
So what's going through your mind? You mentioned kids. You got 2 kids?
Got 2 kids, yep. Got
How old are they?
Yeah, 6-year-old boy and about a 1.5 or so son, too. So 2 boys.
2 boys.
Let's testosterone in the household.
Man, yeah.
A lot of energy. I guess read that as energy, yeah.
You need a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So you're like, I need to do something. And then obviously that coincided with John, you guys being on a work trip. You're like, what are you doing? You're looking great. Okay, you jump on a call. And again, we had a really good chat.
Yeah.
And all those things that you just mentioned, I remember you saying, yep, I had a health check, cholesterol.
Yep.
They actually classed you as obese, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Which
that
I always it's because I'm short. This is all muscle, guys, right? This was in my head.
Yeah.
And it's probably, again, I'm not an expert, but that's probably that knowledge gap that I didn't really know.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, they're saying all these things, and I'm like, some things need to change.
And so we had a chat, and you were kind of like in, pretty much. You just needed to know, okay, what does that entail?
Yep.
What does it look like? All of that stuff. So there you go. I remember we spoke about the goals, and you were like, well, I'm not really that much bothered about the weight. I just want to drop body fat percentage. So I kind of explained it really depends. Like it was hard for me to give you a ballpark, but I'm like, if you were classed as obese, there's definitely weight to be lost there. And
Clearly.
Yes, and and I remember I said to you, I was like, I don't know what you look like right now without the shirt, because obviously we're on a call.
Right.
But I'm like, I guarantee you there is probably at least 20 plus pounds, right? I said that.
Yep.
So here we are, 6 months, 40 pounds down. So you went from 160 or 161 all the way to 120.
121, yeah.
121.
Yeah.
How you feel? How do you feel?
I feel great.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, just body, energy, I mean, everything checks off the box. And I realize, and I think in addition to obviously the activity, the workouts and all that, I mean, mindset, nutrition, and a plan, I think were like the key things that they were all there. I just I didn't know how to put it together. I didn't even know what it was, what I was looking for.
Yeah.
But I feel great.
Awesome. I remember you said the kind of things that were missing were like the nutrition knowledge, the structure. Because you were training, like you said, you were going to the gym, you were throwing weights around, but I think it was the accountability part of things. I remember vividly you saying, "Yeah, I go to the gym and sometimes I'll just do a couple of reps or a couple of sets and I call it a day."
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So what's changed? Like, how did you find the program? How does it change? Your approach to everything versus what was it like before?
Yeah. Again, I think in the beginning it was very much, all right, you work out 2-3 times and that should maintain.
Yep.
And if I work out hard enough, and even working out for me, like, especially like with your program, I clearly was doing it. My mindset or approach was different. I felt like if I'm not killing it and I have left every ounce of energy or sweat, if I didn't like push myself to 110%, I'm not working.
Yeah.
Right. So that was one. That's one.
That was the mindset. Yeah.
Because then I'm like, it's gonna take me a couple of days to recover. Right. It's just your body's not used to that. I would bike a lot, and I remember my heart rate would be like at 180 all the time. I'm just like, I guess this is how it is, right? Because I'm just part of the routine. And then you couple the fact with like nutrition and like when I'm eating, I remember like playing around with the app and just like, all right, I think it was like after a call with you, I was in Miami for a conference. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna track everything and see like where it's at, based off of what the macros you wanted me to hit. I was 3x, 4x above everything, especially the fat, especially the carbs. Yeah. Calories are off the roof because I was drinking a lot, and it having now like the proper, okay, what are you eating? What are you putting in your body? And seeing the impact it has on my body, my psyche, my approach. I mean, you guys have changed my life for the better.
Amazing.
Right? And when we're just, in my mind, we're just getting started, right? Because I feel like this is just like the first phase, and I feel like there's a lot of things. And it's like, I feel it's a lifelong journey, right?
Love it, man.
Tweaks here, tweaks there.
Yeah. Awesome. So when you said, so again, like going back, so your approach previously, training wise, was if I don't just kill myself in the gym, I'm not working hard enough.
Yes.
So the change was on the program because you had a structured workouts, you were tracking everything. It was all about the recovery. So that was a big difference.
Yeah. And not only that, like I feel like because I would train so hard, I'd be getting injured all the time. Like I had Achilles tendonitis, wrist issue, and that was probably just me, just like if I don't like give it all and like just power through things, like I'm worthless. It's not going to do it. That change in mindset and just like preservation, steps, goals, certain milestones, measured approach, especially in an aging body, I think is the key.
Yeah, it's so true, man. Like so many people, and you know, in that case, you prior to starting, you like you said, training wasn't necessarily an issue, like showing up in the gym. But it's like you said, if I don't kill myself in the gym, I don't feel like I'm training hard enough. On top of that, like inflammation off the roof, stress, shit food, loads of alcohol, meetings, like all of that. No wonder injury after injury after injury, no results, no recovery, constantly on a down cycle. So yeah, that's that.
I feel like I wasn't winning.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, that's a big one. Great exercise, by the way. So you mentioned when you went to Miami, you did this sort of experiment with yourself where you would track everything.
Where am I? Yeah, where am I? Like,
and you
how
were
far off am
4Xing.
I? Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, and it was very clear, and like, this is why my cholesterol's off the roof.
Yeah.
I am 3 or 4x the fat content,
Mm-hmm.
double or triple the carb what I'm supposed to be eating, and even the protein. So protein, funny enough, I wasn't even hitting it, and that was a like, okay, I see what's going on.
Yeah.
Here. Like I clearly have been having the wrong approach, or just don't know what the hell I'm doing. So that kind of like gave me like, all right, I need to focus on this.
Yeah. When when did you start seeing changes on the program? Do you remember? Or what was that like? Did you have like a bit of a eureka moment? It's like, oh shit, this is working.
You know what's funny? Like, so you had these weekly check-ins, and you always talked about bowels and all that. And I like, not to get graphic, but like I take a shit like 3 times, 4 times a day. I thought, like, oh yeah, I'm regular.
Yeah,
it's good. But after like a month or so or 2 of like getting my body adjusted to these certain macros, eating cleaner, right? Not crap, nutritiously dense foods, I noticed that like I only had to go once a day.
Yes. Yeah. So digestion was definitely a big one, right?
Were one of the ones I was noticing that, and honestly, my pants were getting looser, right? And not only that, like people would start to say, "Hey, man, you look great. Like, you working out more?" Or
I think how long in the program was that?
A month and a half, 2 months.
So quick.
Under 10. It was quick.
Yeah.
Because it was clearly my diet. Like I dialed in more of like, all right, this is what I need to eat better at. And again, tracking, and this is probably why I avoided doing something like this for the longest time. I mean, it's tedious. It takes a while, but proof is in the pudding.
Man, you're in a financial industry, right? It's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. Like, you got to track your finances if you want to make money or save or invest, whatever. Like, it's the same thing. It's an investment in your health.
Yeah.
If you've got all this weight to lose and you have all these health problems, like, you got to do something. And people, oh, I'm not sure I can commit to this. Like, what's the alternative, man? Like, what is the alternative?
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
I even asked you this question. Where do you see yourself in the next 12 months if you just maintain the status quo and you do not do any, like, as you are?
It's a bad scenario.
Right. And you said, like, I'll probably be a lot heavier, a lot more unfit, and I probably won't have energy to play with my kids. And that was a big one for you, right?
Well, it was huge. It was huge. Because no one ever wants to say, oh, I can't go out and play a run or play soccer or football with you because I'm tired or I'm injured or, I just can't keep up. No. I mean, there's very few years into where the kid just wants to always spend time with you. Once he hits the teenage years, he probably has nothing to do with me. But to that point, like, I want to always say, yes, let's go. Yes, let's do this. Yes, let's run. Oh, yes, let's race. I'm able to do that now. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't able to do that before.
How does that feel, man?
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could beat him now. It's great.
So the oldest one is 11, did you say?
Oldest is 6.5.
6.5, sorry. Yeah. So it's like, he wants to, like, do everything with you, right?
Loves running. He's a good sprinter. Gets my wife's genes. He's quick. Yeah. So it's good. Get to spend more time with him.
So that was a big why for you. Family, kids, right?
Huge. We had our second kid a little bit later in life, or kids in general later in life, and I wanted to, like, bulletproof myself. I wanted to be there for the long haul, long term, and I think investing in myself and also being a role model too. Right? Can you imagine, like, just if I kind of stayed the same and continue to kind of have the the belly, kids are very observant, right? I've noticed, and I'm sure you do too. It's quite. I want to be the role model. I'm not going to be perfect at everything, but I'm going to strive for success and perfection. I'll get most of the way there. And that's all that really matters.
I love that, man. I wish more guys were like this, you know. And I'm sure there are, listen, there are a lot of guys who are fathers and you know, that, but a huge majority of the guys that I speak to, yes, as much as it's a motivation, they always tend to find a way to talk themselves out of committing to actually improving their health and their life for not only themselves but their kids. And that's sad, man. That's sad because it's fear. It's lack of belief that they can. And so this is what I wanted to ask you. What were your reservations going into the program? Like, surely you had some. You knew it works. You knew somebody who did it was very successful. So you clearly knew that, yeah, this is it.
It's doable, achievable. Yeah.
But was there anything up here that was like, I'm not sure I can?
It's a good question. I feel like when I put my mind to something and I tell myself we're doing this, we're doing it. I think for me, and it's tough, and it's an ongoing thing that I'm trying to manage, just balance, right? Because you have X amount of time, and you can only really focus on three main things, right? Family, career, and your personal health, right? Those are kind of like my three main ones. And if you're taking time away from something and filling it the other, right, there's going to be like this shift in terms of how you're filling those different buckets. And so the hardest part was like, how was I going to maintain? Like, I clearly can't be 100 at all of them. How am I going to be able to manage, you know, being a good husband, being a good father, being, you know, kick-ass in my career, but also filling my own cup, right, for myself. And that was a struggle. Like, I don't know how I was going to do it. But I was like, I got to do it, right? I won't know unless I try.
Yeah.
And if I fail, whatever, okay, well, I tried. And then, all right, what do I do? What do I need to do better the next time? I think that was one aspect that I was like, oh, how am I going to manage through this? And two, quite frankly, I had reservations being virtual. Completely honest.
Yeah,
like,
I want you to be as raw and honest as possible, because the reason we do this is for other guys to actually see what you guys go through, what the program is all about, how it works, how it affects you physically, mentally, emotionally, all of this stuff. So,
Yeah, I mean, like, virtual is, all right, it's just the other person on the other end of the line. Like, and granted, right, after the pandemic, like, things have been a little bit more accepting of being virtual. And so what really got me over the line was I had a friend who had gone through it and was able to execute. I'm like, okay, I trust John. John trusted you. By de facto, I will trust you guys as well, right? So that's what kind of got me over that hurdle. And again, like, I needed to do something. Inaction was not an option for me.
Great. You know, this whole thing, it being virtual, it's a very interesting concept for me from like your perspective or somebody who's about to join the program, because what is it exactly that you have your reservations about it being virtual? Is it lack of contact? Is it like, what is it?
So in my mind, again, this is all joining this program. I was like, well, if he's not going to show up at my door, I'm not going to meet someone somewhere. Like, I don't have to, like, I could just not pick up that Zoom call. I don't have to pick up that phone call. You're halfway around, you know, you're across the pond. Out of sight, out of mind almost. That was like my mentality. But again, I think, you know, one of the things I felt like that really helped was like, and you kind of started the wheels in motion in my head. I'm like, why are you doing this? Who are you doing it for? And where do you see yourself later? Right? I think like you getting those elements and kind of like what's the root cause and what's driving you to do this, I think helped me throughout the whole process. Because there are times I'm just like, I just want to open up a bottle of wine, just hang out. Like, I don't need to do a 500 calorie burn today, or I need to do this. Weekly reminders, checking in. And I think it's good and bad, right? Like, all right, what are some of the milestones? What are some of the things you need to improve on? That all helped. And the first couple weeks, I was still getting my bearings, but I already knew that, okay, this is a good structure. I can get behind this. And again, it was why I wanted to do this. It really kind of drove me to do it. Yeah, because I think the virtual thing initially in my head was like, well, I'm never going to meet them in person, or like they're not here physically, so I could ignore that call or whatnot.
This is so interesting, man, because I think it's as much as it's like essentially, I think what people need to realize is when you choose to do something like that, using the excuse of it being virtual and that might be a subconscious or unconscious thing, is I need somebody to motivate me. I need somebody to show up at my doorstep and pull me out of bed and kick my ass to do that. Like, dude, I'm not that guy. And I always say that. You come to us because you want to achieve something great. And if that's what you want, we are here to help you achieve that. But it's on you to do the work.
Yeah.
It's like, I think people have this misconception that, oh, it's a, great program and, like, it's the same thing as the justification of having a personal trainer. Do you think, like, having somebody in person training with you is going to get you where you need to get? You still have to do the work. Showing up to a session with a personal trainer is just a 5% of your success. It's the shit that you have to do outside of that hour with a personal trainer that counts.
I agree. Right. And that's going to have a lasting impact to your overall health and body, right?
Absolutely.
Take that trainer away.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It's taking responsibility for your life, for your health, for your choices, your decisions. That's what it is. This whole program is literally you taking responsibility for yourself and for your future. And we are here to help you, to facilitate that journey, help you on that journey. Once you're in, we'll do anything to pull you through. But you have to be invested and you have to want to try and do and show up. Man, it's not easy. It's not easy.
No, it's not.
And I want you to talk about those struggles. Like, what were the struggles, man? I mean, if maybe for
where do
you,
I start?
maybe for you it was easy because, some people kind of glide through it and they thrive.
Well, I'll tell you this, though. You all made it easy. I remember talking with Jason, actually. Like, I love that. Because I was a gamer, whatever. Like, it's almost like gamified the whole thing.
Yeah.
Check, 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 check. I need all things checked. I will not feel complete unless, I call it OCD, whatever it is. But, like, that helped.
And that might actually, being slightly OCD actually works on the program. Sorry to cut you in. Yeah, it does. Because you're like, tick, 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 tick. Like I said, check boxes. Check boxes. Just show up and check boxes. That's it. That's all you have to do.
And it was like, it was a lot of things, right? So it was, I think that helped me, the gamifying. The struggles I had were like, what do I eat? Right? Because I was so used to eating like my 4-egg omelet with like cheese and, fried hash browns on the side, an avocado. I'm like, oh, I'll have a whole
Healthy
avocado.
food.
It's healthy fats, And then when you just give me like, what, I don't know if it was 50 to start, but 50 grams of fat, I'm like, let's go real quick.
You got a budget. You got to
spend. Budget. I got to reallocate, well. Right? And so it's I think for me the hardest part was the nutrition.
Yeah.
And how do I hit those macro targets and still feel, satisfied? Which, by the way, blew my mind because in the beginning, I'm like, I'm eating a lot of food here. I feel okay. I got this. And that's a great way to start it because then you're like, all right, well, I'm eating all these healthy things. And as you obviously start to cut the carbs, you're forced to become more efficient with what you eat. Yeah. Like, it's so funny. Like, I remember in the beginning, and I think you were telling me, you were like, hey, man, I know protein bars are great. They're easy. They're right there. But you shouldn't be having 5 a day or whatever, right? Like, I was like, oh, okay. I got to be more mindful. And to the point where, I didn't even have to take whey protein. I would hit my protein and everything just from food.
Yeah.
When I tell a lot of people that, they're like, how do you hit 180 grams without supplement? I'm like, you just got to pick and choose what you put in your body.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think like being able to know what to eat, but I think the planning ahead is huge. So I take a lot of people out for work. I entertain, lunches, dinners, events. And again, you made it so much easier. In the beginning, it's like, hey, this is the restaurant I'm going to. This is the menu. This is where I'm going to next. because I know what I would order on my own, but what do I need to order that's not going to like kill me?
Yeah.
And that was super invaluable. Because then over time, like I think in the beginning I would be like, all right, well then I was thinking this. We're like, oh, you might want to think to doing that. And then I became to a point where like, oh, I think I got this, and I felt like empowered. Like I'll admit in the beginning, I'm like, oh, I don't want to. I mean, I have to take people out, right? It's my job, it's my livelihood. Yeah. Like, maybe I want to avoid. Right, we're gonna go to this great restaurant. I really want to order that like steak or deep fried chicken. I'm okay going. I'm okay being in those situations now and be like, well, okay, well, this is what I got to eat, and you do that. And it was like it's actually some of the social norms too. I think that were hard.
Yeah.
I love a good beverage, right? Who doesn't? You know, I in the beginning, and not that I'm completely giving up alcohol. I've definitely reduced significantly because I know how hard it is to maintain those macros, those calories. And I still want to throw it all away, right? Granted, now I gotta live my life too.
Of course,
right? Of course. Glass of wine. Do I need a bottle and a half, 2 bottles?
Exactly.
Probably not. And I think being able to do that, one thing in your own environment too, but like socially with others, in the wild, if you will. That was my test.
Yeah, and we knew that going into it prior you starting, because we had a conversation, and obviously knowing what you do, I knew that there's going to be entertaining clients, taking people to lunches, business dinners, whatever it may be. So that's part. Listen, that's what we do. That's part of,
which is
great.
great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just imagine if I said to you at the beginning, here is the meal plan, follow that. Like, come on. You haven't even started and you already failed, because you're not gonna get, your prescribed meals that you have on a meal plan when you go to a restaurant, and that's just so restrictive.
Super.
The whole point of this program is so that you learn on the go. We coach you, we give you that accountability, we help you in those situations, and like I always say, listen. The more life throws at us, the better, because at least we work as a team. And then when you go out on your own, you know how to overcome those situations because we've already done it. All you need to do is have a difficult situation once on the program. If you then know how to overcome that, you're good.
Yeah.
And that's how you learn. That gives you those skills and those tools to then maintain and sustain that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is just apply a little discipline every single day.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's the way you like lay it out, it sounds so simple. But I will admit, I mean, it's not a walk in the park.
Oh, absolutely not.
Like I feel like it's everyone has their own journey, everyone has their own kind of path that they go about it, but it definitely, the team, the support, the common goal, I think those elements really kind of got me toward the end, or at least through the 6 months, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's not a walk in the park, and it's not meant to be walk in the park, because you are meant to actually experience how hard it is to achieve something like that, because otherwise you wouldn't appreciate the hard work that you've put in, and you would just throw it, at the end, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I've achieved it. I can go back. I can do it again. And this is the problem, right? When people go on like diets, fat diets, fast kind of approaches, they lose a bunch of weight. They get to a point where like, that was easy. All I needed to do is like not eat for a week, cut certain food groups, and I've lost 10 pounds. Well, I can do it at any point. Fuck it, back on it. And then they drink, eat shit, and it's that cycle, perpetuate cycle.
The yo-yo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's where you get the yo-yo kind of dieting all the time. Oh, it was easy. Last time I lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks. I can do it again. Yeah. But psychologically, it really breeds a terrible mindset. It makes you, it puts you in a bad spot. It puts you in a bad spot because you don't learn anything. You most likely lose a bunch of muscle, and every time you do that, you end up in a worse and worse and worse place. So, yeah, to your point, it's not meant to be. It's not meant to be easy, and it isn't. But Yeah. So what would you say was the hardest thing? Was it the social eating? Was it the nutrition? Was it what was it? How did you find it with your family as well?
It was definitely a challenge because I again, it's trying to find this balance, right?
Yeah.
Of being present for the family, to the wife, and to myself, but knowing that like, hey, I be committed to this. I need to kind of get to my goals and milestones for this program. It wasn't easy, and I give so much respect and kudos and love and appreciation for my wife Yasmin, like, to enable me to do this, because it takes a village, and you have to have an understanding partner to kind of be there alongside. Because I'll be honest, like, I was having my own meals, right? I was trying to incorporate more to kind of have everyone eat the same thing.
Yep.
But very much like most of the program, I was like, kind of, all right, well, this is what I need to eat, especially when I'm cutting the carbs. And it was more of a learning process.
Yeah.
I think now I'm at a good point. It's like, all right, I know what I need to eat, like, for most of the day to kind of maintain this X amount of macros. So it was a struggle.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of my things I want to work on as I kind of move on from these 6 months is, okay, how can I be more present with the family without having this macro counting consuming the way I approach things?
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to mention that as you go for a goal of, let's say, photo shoot like you have, and to get really, really lean, it does become harder as the longer you're in it, because obviously you are getting leaner. At the beginning, you are losing body fat at a faster rate because you've got abundance of it. But then when you start incorporating all of these things, you're losing your body fat, etc. Like, metabolically, your body adjusts and adapts. So it doesn't want to lose body fat at that same rate.
Right.
So everything slows down. So we have to keep pushing things constantly. So yes, your calories are going down, your expenditure goes up, carbohydrates, fat, like all of that is kind of being readjusted on sort of regular basis.
Sure.
And yeah, to your point, it's definitely hard in a family setting, especially with having 2 kids. So when you say most of the time you were eating your own meals, like, first, why weren't you able to eat with a family? Were they having like different foods? And I assume the biggest thing is tracking family meals.
Yes.
Correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
I weighed everything.
Yeah.
Like, to your point where, like, I was trying to squeeze every ounce.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, I still have extra fat today. Like, I'm going to maximize that fat, right? Like, she thinks I'm crazy. It's like, I'm grams of like avocado or cheese, even the Halo Top ice cream, something, right? Like, where it's like, okay, like, I have this, it's in the budget.
Yeah.
I can do it. That the measurement was tough. Yeah. I think that's why it kind of not forced me, but which is why I was kind of doing my own thing.
Well, I think it's easier to do it that way.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Then reverse engineering, like, what's in here.
Yeah, I think it's the easier option in that particular setting, rather than, okay, I'll eat with a family, but then it's like, okay,
what was this?
What's this? How much of that? Yeah, that's absolutely.
Yep.
Not impossible. I always say, well, ideally, it would be great if you could still maintain the same sort of lifestyle and achieve those results. But I think, again,
photo shoot,
you just have to gain a different perspective on things
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, we have a task at hand, which is get you as lean as possible, get you healthy, get you lean, tick the photo shoot, and then reverse you back, work on different goals, etc.
Correct.
So, once you kind of at a place where everything is at optimum, you feel great, your energy is great, your weight is where it needs to be, etc. Like, you'll be able to eat with your family without overly tracking everything and kind of worrying about that.
Right.
But you have to pay your dues, as I always say, to kind of get to that point,
and
then be very mindful of everything. That actually, this whole process teaches you a lot about your approach previously, what needs to change, what you need to look out for, all of those things. So that's kind of what it is.
I saw a great quote. Hopefully, I don't butcher it. And I like the one you had posted recently by Anthony Bourdain, that cop in your head.
Yeah.
I like the one. It was great. But the one I thought that really resonated with me was regret weighs tons, but discipline weighs ounces.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was like, wow, what a great way to kind of sum up, the journey.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Listen, it's easy to do both. It's easy to be disciplined. It's easy to be kind of on point every single day. And it's easy just to be lazy and not do anything.
Mm.
I mean, it's not easy to be disciplined every day.
Mm.
But relatively speaking, if you do small things every single day, it's not like you have to do, mammoth of a task every single day in each of those. All you need to do is just be disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
Drink your water, make healthy choices, all of that stuff.
You know what surprised you the most was how much, and I feel like people ask me, like, so what really, is all the workouts? I'm like, honestly, the workouts, and you all have said it too. It's like, that's a small percentage.
Yeah.
This whole thing.
Yeah.
The walking.
Yeah.
And the nutrition.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, like walking? Like, really? That's what's good. Like, this is what solves everything? I was impressed. And it's a good activity now. Like, my wife and I walk more together, right? I'm just like, hey, this is low impact, right? Easy. We get out, fresh air. Mm-hmm. It's good. Try to get like our boys a part of it. So it's become like a thing that we do now.
Yeah.
Right. Low impact. It doesn't have to be like, all right, uphill sprints and kill your body.
Yeah. People overcomplicate things massively, don't they? They feel, and I think this is a massive part of a lot of people not starting anything sooner because they feel like
catch up.
It's going to involve sprints and hit training, and I'm going to be like no energy. Like it doesn't. It just, you need structure, you need clarity, you need accountability, you need to know what you're doing every single day. It's like little things every single day. Interesting. So from a family perspective, you feel like it brought you guys closer together?
Yeah, I think it's starting to, right? Like the good habits, right?
Yeah.
It's like lead by example, the walking, we love hiking. I think both my boys love being outdoors, right? So like activities like that we can kind of do together and share are great. 6 months ago, I might have been like, well, let's do a quick walk, a little quick hike. Now it's like, oh, you can handle 3 hours. Let's do it. It's, and I'll put the little one on my shoulders or I'll carry him, so it's been kind of starting to incorporate things like that together as a family. I think the other struggle, just going back to your earlier question, it was just like fighting through obstacles and specifically injuries.
Yep.
Because there were a couple of times, and you guys did a great job of being able to like, all right, your form, right? And I think this is what kind of got me a little bit more over the mental hurdle of virtual, all that. But shooting the videos, sending them to you. Hey, this doesn't feel right. That open communication. Mm-hmm. I think initially, if it were me alone, I would have probably just powered through it with a bad form, get injured more. But to be able to kind of have the guidance and like, oh, okay, let's maybe reduce this or cut the weight by this amount or try these other exercises. Guiding me through that helped. Yeah. Because I've battled injuries throughout my whole life. And touch wood, I don't have any anymore, but I've definitely, while being a little bit, or fighting through some sort of muscle thing, I've been able to still cut weight and be active, right? I've always been in my mind like, oh, injured, stop everything. And you don't have to just stop.
Yeah, you can work around things with intelligent approach. Talk to me a little bit about confidence and self-esteem, because when we spoke for the first time, you did mention that. I mean, obviously, you're a confident guy. Right, I mean the job that you do and stuff like that. I
know what I know.
Level of confidence, but what was it like? I don't know, going on holidays, taking your top off, all of that stuff. And the few things that you mentioned as well, when I recall, is you talking about I didn't want to be that dad, right?
Yeah, with the man boobs and everything. Yeah. I would always probably used to joke about it before, be like, oh well, it's the dad bod, right? Embracing it. But but part of me inside was always like, man, I wish I could kind of just get fit and feel good. And granted, I feel I loved myself. I pretty strong self-esteem mentally, but physically, I did feel like I was like, oh, sluggish, and I didn't want to feel sluggish. And there was always a part of me too. It was like, it would be great to have a six pack. Be great to take off that shirt. Have my wife look at me like, oh hey, how you doing?
I love it.
And believe me, it's great. I've never had a six pack my whole life, and it's there, and it feels amazing. Even my son, before I left, he was like, "Daddy, can you show me your muscles again?"
Man, that's awesome.
I'm like, oh, like, okay, here we go. He's like, wow, do I have those? So I'm like, yeah, bud, you got those too. You gotta work out, you gotta eat right, blah blah blah. So it's, I guess that's part of it. I wouldn't say it was the primary objective, but who doesn't want abs?
Of course, man. Absolutely. Listen, I think just what you said there, your kids coming up to you and looking at you and go, Dad, like, show me your muscles. You inspiring them. You're the little hero. I mean, you are their hero. You are their hero. And that's awesome,
it's
man.
cool. Feels good. It
Right?
definitely feels good. Yeah.
That's amazing. Like, for me, that's a job done from our side. Like, we've changed your life. I think it's fair to say, right?
100%.
Yeah. I love this, man.
Seriously, you guys.
Because the impact it has on the family, on the kids, it's just a ripple effect. It's just a ripple effect.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, and I love one thing about me, as I'm sure you've noticed, like, I love sharing. I love helping out. I just want to share, especially all the good things that I've learned from here. And, when people ask me, and to your point, like, when did you first started noticing? It's like when people started noticing and making comments about it.
Yeah.
That was kind of where I was like, oh, well, I guess it's working. Because if you're obviously the weighing scale, it'll tell you like you're ticking, right? I mean, the trend line's right. Okay, we're headed the right direction. And obviously, clothes getting a lot looser.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, thanks. I got to buy a whole new wardrobe.
Across the board, everyone.
Good problem to have, I guess. Good problem to have. But I tell them the journey, and I kind of, it's not like I'm inspiring them, but like it definitely starts a conversation. And there's a lot of people that I think are just either they don't know where to go to, and I get it because I'll be honest, I also searched before. Talking to you all, talking to other trainers, I just didn't have the right connection, didn't have the right vibe. But, I think just people just need a helping hand, right?
Yeah.
Some sort of guidance.
Man, let me ask you this, because this is quite interesting. Do you feel that if Jonathan wasn't in the equation, do you think you would have signed up after sort of randomly meeting me, jumping on a call, etc., or would you be skeptical?
I was gonna do something,
right?
I didn't know what it was gonna be, but it was definitely like, I need to change this as part of my life. I need to invest in myself for the future, but I didn't know what that was. Right. Could have been a trainer found locally. Could have been a nutritionist. I don't know what it was. What it could have been. Jonathan helped me. Jonathan made help. Having a friend gone through the program,
for sure,
tested and tried. I know the person.
Yeah.
Half the time, I'm wondering, like, is that really a real person? Like, I don't know, but I personally know someone that did it.
Yeah.
That was huge.
I think it is for a lot of people. We get a lot of referrals, and that massively helps. I think if you like, there needs to be that element of trust. Like, if you know somebody who's done it, it's a real thing.
Huge.
Of course, it's a bit of an issue, trusting somebody, like you said, across the pond, handing over, hard-earned money and signing up for something that you
may or may not work. You don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Do you think you would have? You would have done something. Would it be me?
So I will say, out of all the trainers and stuff that I've talked to, we clicked the most.
Okay.
There was the right energy.
Okay.
I love the approach. Honestly, some of the others, it felt like a call center.
Right.
Like that guy was clearly paid to just like answer the phone, get the notes.
Okay.
Never met, you know, any of the coaches. So in my mind, I'm like, well, you know, if you're trying to hire me as a client, like you're not trying to have your A game, then maybe, you know, so that's not the path I wanted to go.
Yeah.
But there was definitely good energy, definitely good vibe. And I loved a lot of the approaches. Even the stuff you have online, like there was a lot of things that resonated quite well.
That's why we do, you know, that's partly the reason we do the podcast and all the interviews. I really want to show, you know, these guys out there who are thinking of doing something, who are searching, you know, yes, it's virtual. Yes, we're far away, if you're in the US. But kind of having those conversations and trying to really, you know, dilute the doubt at least a little bit, you know.
Sure.
It's to show you, like, we are real people doing the real thing. We're passionate about this, and we're passionate about changing lives. And, you know, you and so many others are just a proof of that. So
I will say I'm a massive. It takes a lot for me to trust folks, and I always, you know, trust but verify. But you know, I really I feel like this was the right decision.
Oh,
it made
awesome.
made all the difference in the world.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Would you say you're in the best shape of your life?
Yeah. I mean, I'll just give you, like, when I would go biking, I love road biking. I honestly would be hitting my heart rate would be 180 BPM at like a zone, you know, zone 2, zone 3, like cycling kind of power zone thing. Now I'm like in the 140s or like 150. And it gets harder to kind of hit those calorie burns, right?
Yeah, of course.
And where was it? Where was I somewhere? I was with, I was with someone and we were hiking, and I always thought that person was quite fit. I mean, and they are in their own right. But I was, you know, at the end of the hike, he's like, "Oh man, that was a tough one." I'm like, "Oh yeah, it was all right." You know, that was like kind of like my litmus test or my benchmark. I'm like, clearly.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really good. So you had the physical done prior to starting the program, right? And so your cholesterol and everything. Have you had it all retested?
Oh yeah. So I didn't tell you guys. Yeah. You know, so last week, I got blood work done. So September last year, my cholesterol was like 308 or something. My LDL was like 245. Bad, really bad, right? I had to get on cholesterol maintenance minutes and all that stuff. Granted, it was on medication. It kind of got lower. Like, it was in a good spot. But I did it again last week, and my cholesterol now was like 127 total cholesterol. My LDL was 45.
Wow.
That was 5x of like what it was.
What did the doctor say?
Doctor's like, whatever you're doing,
keep doing.
You just changed the course of your life.
Yeah. Oh man, you see, this is it. Like, that's why
it's hard data. That's blood work.
I love it. Especially being in the US, right? Because you guys obviously private medical insurance and all of that stuff like that costs money. So you extending and adding years to your life, improving quality of your health and all of that, like that brings all the potential costs, you know, massively down. So what's the investment in your opinion worth?
1,000 times over, for sure. Well, a friend of mine even told it, like, we're similar conversation. We're like, oh, you know, it was a tough, okay, there were sacrifices to be made. You know, like time away from family sometimes, just getting steps in and workouts. But like I worked around it. Worked out early, I worked out late. But he made the point, like, well, man, you probably just added 2 more decades to your life. I'm like, you're probably right. That's invaluable.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. How does it feel now when you look in the mirror? When you look at yourself, what goes through your mind?
not to sound vain, but man, dude, it looks great. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was like, fuck, who is this guy?
Yeah,
you know. And I don't think, like, I asked my friends and family, I'm like, I don't think I've changed as a person. I probably have more energy and whatnot. But when I look at the mirror, I'm like, who is that guy?
Like I said, today, obviously seeing you for the first time in real life, in person, and like I said, I looked at the photos but the video, like the photos, yes, it's a massive difference. But I looked at our video, the call that we had, and I was like, man, that is crazy. you were just
Yeah.
bloated and kind of
Oh,
unhealthy
triple
looking.
chin. I got the whole works, man.
It was nuts.
It was nuts. And sorry, there's another thing that was like very glaring and it made me realize like, wow, I'm clearly doing something in my body that's changing. My wife was like, hey, you're not snoring anymore.
Mm.
And I know, and I used to joke, I'm like, I don't snore. I don't know what you're talking about.
Gone.
Right.
I love that. This is so powerful. I actually had somebody on a call yesterday, and the guy, so many health problems. One of them being he had apnea and sleep problems and stuff like that. It's like he literally said, "I'm waking up probably every hour on the hour."
No, really.
Yeah. And I'm like,
That's tough.
dude, if anything,
Yeah.
do yourself a favor, because we can improve quality of your life so much. But this is it. Like, again, it's that commit. Like it's having the courage to commit to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think most people feel like they won't be able to achieve what they need to achieve. But I think it's that trade-off that goes on in people's heads. It's like, will I be able to trade the Netflix series for a walk in the evening? Will I be able to trade that pizza and wine or beer for a healthy meal? Have I got it in me? That is the biggest thing. And that's what people need to figure out. Is that pizza and a beer and a Netflix series taking you closer or further away from your goals? Is it extending and improving the quality of your life, or is it actually shortening your life and degrading the quality of your life? Yeah. These are the questions essentially that people need to ask themselves, man. So
you or us or anyone else can't answer.
Yeah,
for
100%.
Yeah,
100%. I mean, think about it. If you were to go solo, the chances are, I mean, I don't know, let's say 50-50. If you sign up to a program where you have a team of coaches, people who coached hundreds, if not thousands at this point, of men, helping them completely transform their health, their life, etc. Like, what chances of you succeeding have you got right now?
Not only that, like it's efficient, it's optimal. Like, if you're going to do this, why waste time?
That's it.
And you don't know at what point you are in that kind of body clock, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think efficiency is a great one, because I always say you can try and not make that investment and not make that commitment to yourself, and you can try for another 5 years. But I will guarantee you right now, and you, like most people know, whatever it is that you are doing is not working. What makes you think that you will succeed in the next 24 months?
So that was my mindset. Like, I've been doing, again, I was active and body composition, life changes. I was spinning my wheels. I wasn't getting any progress.
Yeah.
That hits home. So,
yeah. And time is ticking, and you kind of like, well, shit, I'm in the same place, if not worse, 2 years down the line.
Yeah.
I'm actually heavier than I was, because, I mean, listen, statistically, prior to this, when were you in the best shape of your life? High school?
Yeah.
High school,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So every year that's gone on and you had more responsibilities, life gets in the way, etc. Like, you are getting more unfit, most likely a little bit heavier every year. Like, where do you think you're going to be in the next 5 or 10?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, but that's kind of, that's a problem to overcome with the people out there who are looking for help, need help, want help, but are just not willing to commit. And, that's a big one. What would you say, Arthur, to somebody who, is in your shoes 6 months ago, is thinking of doing something, but is maybe not sure? It's a visual thing. These guys are across the pond. I don't know that. Like, let's say they don't know. Like, what would you say to somebody like that?
Take the leap of faith. And having done it and seen it, like, I get where people's minds are, right? Is there trust there? Can I do it? Will they do it? Listen, your commitment's there. Your goals are there. Martin team, Jason, I mean, you guys are definitely going to get that individual over the line. And it's an investment for your health in the future. That's how I've always looked at it.
Yeah.
It's an investment. It's going to take time, but there's no better time than now. Anything, you even told me that too. It's like, you know, what are you going to do? Like, where is this going to end up? And yeah, you play the cards out. And you're like, well, it's either that path or this path.
Yeah. That's the funny thing is, it's like you get to a point of like you email, you book the call, you sit on the call, you know that it's going to help you because most guys are like, they know that this is the thing that is going to help them. Yet when it comes to the final commitment, a lot of the time they just bail out.
Doubt.
Yeah. That's that taking that responsibility for themselves, their future, and not willing to commit to themselves. Yeah, it's fear, isn't it?
Yeah. But you I think a lot of folks just, they'd be surprised at what they could do once they put your mind into it. You know, like I'm even surprised how much I was able to get out of this.
100%.
It's. I think we all have it in us. We just got to find it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or find the right triggers to kind of get us there.
Would you say that it helped you, like, at work in any capacity, having more energy? Was there anything that made you more sort of productive or efficient?
Yeah, yes, in the sense that energy, being on point, clarity. Like, I'll be honest. Like, we travel for like 3-4 days, late nights, right? More beverages I probably needed to drink, and just feeling the next morning feeling like absolute crap. But I had to get up, got all these other meetings I got to do, and just struggling through the day, just like, oh my God, I just want to be done with this. To a point where now we're like, well, all right, I think I was having a chat with Jason, we're like, this is work, right? And I'm obviously going to have a beverage here and there, but I don't have to, right? It's my choice. And once I kind of had that empowerment, or just learning how to kind of navigate it and just having the right mental approach to it, way more productive. Felt great.
Yeah.
Right? I would wake up early, even in my meetings, to get the steps in, the workout in. Right. Like you just start the day off in that fresh setting. Just set the tone.
Yeah. That's great, man. That's great. It's a big one because obviously we work a lot with guys who have to travel for business, have to entertain clients and stuff like that. And initially it's the thing of, I think, like you said, it's having that confidence to go, well, no, I am committed to improving my health, myself, etc.
Yeah.
Like I can have a drink, but that's it. Like I don't need to go 5 deep.
Right.
And then, next thing leads to having shit food and making bad choices, waking up in the morning, no energy, pissed off, starting.
Yeah.
It's like it's a domino effect, isn't
Totally.
it? Domino effect.
Totally.
So,
yeah.
Awesome, man. Listen, tomorrow is a big day. We have a shoot, and you look fantastic, man. I'm so proud what you achieved, what you've accomplished over those 6 months, and I'm really looking forward to the day tomorrow.
Me too.
It's a great day, man.
It'll be fun. No, I'm excited.
Energy filled, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I love it. Arthur, thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me.
For coming all the way from New York
It's a journey
to London.
Yeah.
Meet us in person.
Oh,
man, it's been a journey. We no doubt have other goals that we're going to be working on.
Yep.
But so far, brilliant stuff, man.
Cheers.
Congratulations and thank you, man.
Cheers, man.